Hello, Diablo 4 community. Welcome to another Diablo 4 developer update. My name is Adam Fletcher. I am the Director of Community here for all things Diablo. Of course, I have a wonderful panel next to me that I want to introduce. We have two familiar faces and one new face. And so, we'll jump right to it. Our new face first.
Thanks, brother. I'm Ben Fletcher. I'm the lead designer for Season 10.
I'm Aislinn Hall. I'm a systems designer. I mostly work on seasons, and I specifically worked on Chaos Armor for Season 10.
Hi, I'm Charles Dunn. I'm a class designer. I worked on the Chaos perks a lot, and also the class updates for the season.
I just want to note, there are two Fletchers now. Two. We grow stronger. In the past, we've always had multiple Adams. Now we have two Fletchers. Fun fact, though, there's another Fletcher on Team 3, on Diablo. And one day we're going to have all three of us on a stream, and we're just going to be incredibly powerful.
It's going to be unstoppable.
It's going to be unstoppable. But anyways, so we haven't actually talked in a while. We haven't had a stream in a little bit. We actually did have a little bit of a pause. We were going into a new cadence where we're going to do these streams now at the start of the season. And then our PTRs are going to be focused more around like the notes, the blog, and then of course the Sanctuary sit down that happens across Discord. But we're back. We have a little bit of a new format. We'll jump into it in a quick second, but I do want to note that we do actually have a Twitch drop that is active right now on the channel. So if you're watching on twitch.tv/Diablo, or if you're watching on any co-streaming partner or anyone who's streaming Diablo 4 at this very second, for the next 30 minutes, if you watch for 30 minutes, you will actually unlock the bow. For the next couple hours, this will be available for people to actually jump in and obtain. So it's a cool way of getting some additional gear. Plus, we'll have more drops that we'll be talking about here in a second. But we do want to talk really quickly about this new format. As I mentioned, we did take a little bit of a pause to kind of rejigger some stuff behind the scenes. And we know we got a lot of feedback from the community talking about how sometimes, we can get in a little bit of our own napkin math. We talk a little bit, we get into the weeds, and it comes across as a little hard to understand on some of the features that are coming in the season. So we actually have a little bit of a pre-recorded video here that Ben and Charles narrate, and they're going to talk a little bit more about Season 10 and all the class items that are related to Season 10. So let's take it away and check out Season 10.
What is life without meaning, Wanderer? It is chaos.
I'm Ben Fletcher, lead seasons designer, and I'm excited to share some details about the new season with you. The Infernal Hordes are hotter than ever because we're dialing up the intensity on this mode. We've done a significant rework of the Infernal offerings presented between each wave. Our goal is to try and make all of them feel like valid choices for you to build your run on. We've updated the balance of offerings, offering effects, introduced new challenges with the Fel Council, and introduced a new family of Chaos monsters. Within Infernal Hordes, you'll occasionally be presented with a Chaos offering as a fourth option which will activate a Chaos wave. The more waves a compass has, the more Chaos offerings you'll see during your run. Chaos waves will have many different combinations to discover and master. Dodge deadly projectiles from Chaos rifts, slay rampaging hellworms, or defend an etheric mass from being destroyed. Chaos awaits. Rather than facing off against the Fel Council, you can choose to risk your hard-earned ether and throw down against the insidious, reborn Bartok to complete your Infernal Hordes run. It's worth the risk because slaying Bartok will reward you with Chaos Armor. Chaos Armor is a more powerful version of existing unique items that come with a diabolical twist. They always fill a different item slot than the original version, leading to entirely new ways of dispensing carnage. Chaos Armor can appear for helm, chest, gloves, pants, and boots. Chaos Armor's unique powers are also more potent than their normal counterpart. They always roll at maximum power, and they always have at least one greater affix. For release, there will be a list of generic Chaos Armor available to all classes, as well as class-specific pieces for players to choose from. Chaos Rifts are one-way portals from hell that spew demons and environmental hazards into the world. Seal them to stop the demon infestation and earn seasonal reputation and currency. They also feature a variety of other rewards like bonus XP, gems, and even Chaos Armor in Torment difficulties. You'll find Chaos Rifts and Hell Tides throughout Sanctuary. Closing these rifts will sometimes award you a Nightmare Dungeon sigil with the Chaos Rift affix. These Nightmare Dungeons are packed with Chaos Rifts and Chaos Monsters for you to destroy, and you may even come across a Fleeting Compass. Fleeting Compasses activate a new pre-torment version of Infernal Hordes called Fleeting Hordes that adds some spice to your character leveling journey. Fleeting Hordes, you'll slay your way through 4 offering waves and face off against 2 members of the Fell Council for a big boost of experience and rewards. Chaos perks change how your skills function and enable you to create devastating combinations. Chaos perks come in rarities of magic, rare, legendary, and unique. You'll be able to equip 1 unique perk along with 3 more of any other type. Each class has access to 16 perks, 4 of each rarity and 4 class-specific perks. Now for our class updates.
Charles Dunn here. I'm a class designer here to showcase some exciting updates in the season of Infernal Chaos. Necromancers will have access to one of the most crazy and transformational chaos perks, Alter the Balance, which swaps the role of your core and ultimate skills. Your core skills will now have long cooldowns, but massively increased effectiveness, and your ultimate skills will only have an essence cost and no cooldown, but with a modified, weaker effect. There are a ton of new build possibilities with this chaos perk. Also, if you are ever unlucky enough to die, all of your minions will be resummoned whenever you resurrect from death. No longer will you have to spend a bunch of time finding corpses to resummon your army, you can get right back into the fray. Necromancer's new unique item is a focus, Gospel of the Devotee, which directly enhances your basic skills functionality and also makes them even more powerful when combined together. Be sure to pair this with bonuses to your basic skills like Aspect of Adaptability and Pain Gorger's Gauntlets to wreak havoc on the demons of Sanctuary. Rogue's Dance of Knives has previously struggled with priority damage. When an enemy champion monster showed up, it was tough to focus them down. But now, Dance of Knives will prefer to target enemy champions, elites, and bosses, giving you better priority single target damage. Penetrating Shot has also received some sizable buffs, including higher base damage and a higher multiplier on its unique bow, Eaglehorn. But if you would like to try out a slightly different playstyle, swap out Eaglehorn for the new unique crossbow, Orphan Maker. Orphan Maker introduces a new keyword, Reload, which causes a skill to be unusable for a short period of time after casting, but in exchange, it gains increased damage and reload time based on your attack speed. If you manage to find the Chaos Armor version of Orphan Maker, you can even combine this effect with Eaglehorn. For the Sorceress, Charged Bolts has been supercharged this season. Aspect of the Charged Flash has been reworked to cause Charged Bolts to spend your crackling energy charges for even more damage. Aspect of Piercing Static now causes your Charged Bolts to spawn even more Charged Bolts to flood the screen with electricity. The new unique ring, Galvanic Azurite, pairs perfectly with these updates. Lightning damage will magnetize enemies and cause them to be pulled together by your crackling energy. Sorceress has one of the most interesting chaos perks this season, Mana Shield. This effect essentially turns your mana into your life total and gives you plenty of extra mana to work with. And if you need to quickly heal up, avoiding damage for a few seconds will rapidly replenish your mana pool. While this is the season of Infernal Chaos, Druid's Tornado will be a little bit less chaotic. Tornado now always seeks enemies who are close to where you cast it, and then it spirals in an area nearby. Storm Chaser's aspect has been reworked to allow Tornado to drag enemies along with it, further increasing its damage and consistency. Druid's new unique pants, Kilt of Blackwing, lets a Raven's build take flight. By shapeshifting or casting companion skills, you will spawn additional ravens to peck at your enemies, and occasionally summon a full unkindness, massively increasing your flock. Be sure to try out the Chaos perk Wild Transformations, which uses defensive skills and grants a bonus while shapeshifting. This synergizes extremely well with Flesh Render to apply constant damage to nearby enemies. Barbarian's Walking Arsenal key passive has been slightly reworked and now grants unstoppable and even more attack speed when keeping up all 3 weapon bonuses. If you don't like playing with all those weapons, try out the Chaos perk Single-Minded Fury. This gives multiple, massive bonuses, such as the never-before-seen Overpower Chance. But you can only get these bonuses if you commit to only wielding a single arsenal weapon type. The new one-handed unique sword, Saber of Tasagal, increases your damage for each damaging skill you have equipped. This excludes buffing or defensive skills like Shouts, Wrath of the Berserker, and Iron Skin. But by combining your offensive skills, you can buff up your damage all the same. Spiritborn ultimate skills have all been buffed. The Hunter now gives a one-time chance per enemy to execute them, even if they are at full health. And the Seeker can now refund charges against elites and bosses. The Devourer gains increased scaling damage, while the Protector's upgrades have been streamlined and improved. Speaking of the Protector, the new unique gloves, Hesha Ikasungi, alters the Protector's targeting to let you cast it at range, and it will pull in enemies with each hit. Dedicated guerrilla builds will be ready to smash with this new power. The Chaos perk Combined Strikes is extremely potent, essentially doubling the output of your core skills, but it adds a long cooldown. You can get around this cooldown though by combining your core skills with your basic skills' third hit. These are just a few of the exciting updates coming in the season of Infernal Chaos.
I will deliver humanity from the natural order. I will be centuries ruin.
There we go. Quick recap of everything that's coming in season of Infernal Chaos, which is our 10th season for Diablo 4. Huge thanks to, of course, Ben and Charles for recording all that stuff beforehand. But there's more stuff on there on top of what you guys actually saw that we do want to go through. A lot of things from PTR that and a lot of learning, some quality of life stuff as well.
Yeah.
So let's just jump right into it. I know one big thing that everyone has been always talking about has been like whispers and what we can do to improve on that. So Aislinn, I know you had a change you wanted to talk about with whispers coming with Season 10.
Yeah, absolutely. So a feature people have been asking for is when you look at your Nightmare Dungeon sigils, if there's a whisper affiliated with that dungeon, it would actually show you on the Nightmare Dungeon sigil itself. And we have that now in Season 10, so you will be able to much more efficiently plan your path for all the different Nightmare Dungeons you're going to be playing through.
We have the technology.
It's here.
The tech is here.
We have the technology. Yeah, it should help a whole lot. We'll make things way more efficient, especially when you're seeing a full inventory of different keys.
Yeah.
You'll be able to know exactly which ones have whispers associated to them, which is really good to see. Another big change that is also coming with the PTR learnings and everything that we've seen has to do with Chaos Rift. So, Ben, I know you wanted to chat a little bit about that.
Yeah, we have a couple changes coming from Chaos Rifts after the PTR. The first one is, we saw that the wave attack that comes out of those is pretty powerful. A lot of people getting wrecked by those. I'm people. I got wrecked by those.
Pretty strong, yeah.
Because, they already did a lot of damage and they had a stacking debuff that makes you just take even more damage over time. So we've chilled those out a bit. There's no longer a stacking debuff and we reduce the damage a little bit on those. So it won't be quite so hard to deal with, especially for low-level characters. The next change is for Chaos Rifts that you encounter in Nightmare Dungeons. We've juiced the rewards a little bit more on those to make the activity more rewarding.
Nice.
Perfect.
More rewarding, less punishing. We saw a lot of people die to those waves during PTR. A lot of comments related to those. So happy to see the changes there. I know of course, with Infernal Hordes and that being a major focus in this specific season, there's been a lot of changes in regards to the balance on those. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about Infernal Hordes and the changes coming with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we decided to take a pretty big pass on Infernal Hordes after PTR. We got a bunch of wonderful data and fantastic feedback, and so that really spurred us to dive deep. So thank you very much for that. I'm not going to go into all the details of the changes we made. You can check out the patch notes if you want to read it line by line. But I do want to go over 4 points regarding like overarching stuff we did for Infernal Hordes. So the first is that we adjusted base ether gains from ether events. So before, you would get a lot of your ether from your offering choices. So whatever build you constructed would be the vast majority of where your ether was actually coming from. We wanted to make it more so it was a bit more equally balanced between the amount you were blasting through ether events, and your offering choices in the build that you construct. And then secondly, we focused on Chaos Waves. So we actually had more Chaos Waves in PTR because we wanted people to check it out and just get in and do as much as possible. We ended up toning down the number of Chaos Waves that actually spawn in each Infernal Horde key because it was kind of overpowering the buildcraft element of the Infernal Hordes. Now you're going to find less Chaos Waves, but each Chaos Wave is going to be, it's going to be a very lucrative amount of ether that you're going to gain from it, so they're going to be worthwhile to do, especially the Ether Goblins event. That one is really, really powerful. We also just kind of did a generic pass on everything. We audited all the different offerings. We tuned a bunch of the different numbers on everything. We made sure that the legendary and the rare offerings were really worthwhile to pick. And then finally, we had a specific focus on Soul Spires. So we know that Soul Spires haven't been the most popular choice since Season 5. And we made sure that the base ether upgrades to Soul Spires are going to definitely be really powerful, especially because there's some multiplicative offerings for Soul Spires. So multiplying a higher number is really good. Number go up. And we also did a couple of reworks on some of the Soul Spire offerings, and they should be a lot more powerful now. So please show us how much of a terrible mistake we made, and we hope you enjoy Infernal Hordes in Season 10.
There we go. A lot of big changes coming with Infernal Horde. It's funny that you mentioned Soul Spires because I know myself and many others would just completely skip Soul Spires when it was an option for offerings. And also, fun fact, Aether is actually ether.
Ether.
Yes.
We struggled with this before this season because we were all, either recording videos or doing little pieces or talking about it beforehand. And then we learned that canon in Diablo 4, despite it being spelled A-E-T-H-E-R, it's actually pronounced ether. Thanks to Mr. who said it that first time when we came out with the season of Infernal Hordes. And since then, it's canon. We can't change it.
The lore is the A is silent.
Exactly. Other big changes from PTR, I know everyone got to experience like the class perks and of course the Chaos Armor within PTR, and then there was a ton of feedback that came in from that.
Oh yeah.
So Charles, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. Obviously one of the big drivers of this season was the Chaos Perks and Chaos Armor. We really wanted to encourage a lot of build crafting, where you like reevaluate how you want to set up your character, what legendaries and skills to use, and how it all works together. Much more so than in previous seasons, where some of the past seasonal powers were a bit more of an extra layer on top of your build. These seasonal mechanics, the Chaos Perks and Armor, really worked to change your build at a fundamental level. We got a lot of great notes on every class about builds that were working, builds that weren't, things that were a little too strong, a little too weak, because there's just so many interactions with all of these different Chaos Armor and Chaos Perks together. I think in broad strokes, we saw that some of the Chaos Perks, some of the more generic ones, were a little bit strong. They were kind of crowding out some of the more class-specific options. That's also a new thing that we've been doing this season with class-specific seasonal powers to really allow us to make more customized things for every individual class. So we took a pass to buff up a lot of the more class-specific ones rather than nerf down too many of the generic ones that were slightly overperforming. Of course, even on a class-by-class basis, we saw some, like the Druid, were doing extremely well. There's a number of issues with Druid on the PTR, which is one of the great reasons that we have PTR, is so that we can test them and get ahead of them before they go live and kind of ruin the actual season launch with being either bugged or ridiculously overpowered, like some of their effects were. So we brought some of those down on Druid to bring them back a little closer to the pack. But on the other side, we had some classes like Rogue that really felt like they were being left behind just raw numerically. There's so many different combinations of these perks and Chaos Armor that it's sometimes a little difficult to predict where everything's going to land. And Rogue landed a little bit lower than the average. So we've done a pass kind of across the board for some numeric buffs to Rogue, as well as some light design tweaks on some of their Chaos perks to hopefully bring them back up to the pack and be more competitive across other classes.
Yeah, I know PTR is always super helpful for us because it allows us to find these like really extreme cases where some classes really kind of like go out of bounds. Druid most definitely went out of bounds by quite a few pit tiers compared to other classes. So most definitely being brought back with the rest of the group, and of course Rogue also getting buffed up as well, which is great to see. So yeah, great feedback from players during PTR. Always important for people to jump in during PTR. We also have some additional stuff that we're going to talk about that has been really covered off, which is some armor related pieces. Aislinn, do you want to talk a little bit more about some of this new armor?
Yeah. So we've seen that everyone's really excited about Chaos Armor, and that is wonderful to see. And we got a ton of feedback about different items that people would like to see as Chaos Armor. And so we kind of collated all of that and thought about it, and we were like, well, here's like one class that we would love to add a piece of Chaos Armor to, another one, and then we were like, well, let's just add another one to each class. So we've added one more piece of Chaos Armor for each different class, and we just wanted to talk through it really quick about our choices and a little bit about what makes them special and cool. So Barbarian's going to be getting Ramaladni's Magnum Opus. It's a one-handed sword. It's kind of a more generic. It fits into a lot of different builds. It's kind of focused on Big Fury, which is cool because if you get it as Chaos Armor, you can kind of slot it into a bunch of different stuff, which is super fun. Druid's getting Dolmen Stone, which causes your boulders to spin around you, orbit around you, so you're going to be able to do some fun Chaos Armory stuff with that. Necromancer's getting Mutilator Plate as Chaos Armor, and that involves Blood Lance. So Blood Lance is going to be quite glorious in Season 10 if you can find yourself a Mutilator Plate on your boots or whatnot. And then Rogue is going to be getting the Scoundrel's Kiss, and that's one that causes your rapid fire to lob. And it's a ring, so it's nice to be able to move that to your armor slot and make your rapid fire stronger. Essu's Heirloom is going to be for Sorcerer. That one is, once again, kind of a more generic one, and you're going to be able to move it off your boot slot, so you might be able to put something else in your boot slot, which is kind of neat. And then Spiritborn is getting Sunbird's Gorget, I believe, is the item. And that one is about like Firestorm Feathers, and it's also an amulet, so moving it off of your amulet slot's insanely good because it retains the resist all bonus that amulets inherently get, but then you get to put it on another piece of armor, which is like amazing. So that one's going to be super solid too.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing like all the additional build possibilities now because we're adding additional Chaos Armor, so it's going to be really cool to see beyond what people did during PTR and what they got to experiment with. So awesome to see some changes there. And probably the biggest point of feedback that we've gotten throughout last season was most definitely around boss immunity phases. And Ben, do you want to talk a little bit about some changes that are coming related to that? And we also got, because some people experienced a little bit of that in PTR, but then they gave us more feedback based off of stuff that was coming in Season 10. So do you want to give a quick update?
Yeah, so definitely had a ton of positive feedback on the boss immunity phase changes that we put into the PTR and that are being carried forward into Season 10. If you're not familiar with what that is, basically we took the immunity phases from the layer bosses, and anytime they would have an immunity phase, we've replaced that with a shield that can take damage, that can be blasted down. So if you're powerful enough, you can still, just nuke the boss and continue on your way as you're grinding out. But it still provides like a meaningful, significant challenge for less powerful characters. The thing that we did change coming out of PTR is we updated the Bartok fight at the end of Infernal Hordes to use the same style of shielding to bring that fight in line with our other layer bosses.
Yeah, I think people saw some of the changes come with the other layer bosses in the PTR, and then Bartok was there, and then they're like, wait a minute, this one still has the old immunity phases.
Yeah.
PTR. Well, some of these changes happen on, as we're implementing and everything, and so it was good for us to be able to hear what players, their reactions to it and how they actually, really appreciated that. Hey, if you're a blaster, you can just blast through the shields, and we know we have a ton of those within Diablo, and so now you won't be stuck behind a lot of these immunity phases that you had before with the layer bosses, while still having that little bit of an edge, that like elevation you have to gain to get blast through the actual shield. So a lot of quality of life stuff. There's actually going to be patch notes available immediately after the stream. We know we had the blog that came out about an hour and a half ago or so on Diablo4.com. That will be updated to include patch notes immediately after the stream, so you guys can actually check out all the changes, plus more things that we haven't actually covered off on this specific stream, so that, you can do all your theory crafting and everything, because this time you got a week.
Yeah.
A week.
A whole week?
Normally,
week.
a whole week before we release like notes usually on Thursdays beforehand. So now you get a whole week to actually theory craft, which is cool to see. We do want to take some questions from Twitch chat. I'm also gonna address this. We always get people that ask like, hey, how come chat's disabled on other platforms and stuff like that? We only have so many moderators, so this makes it a lot easier for us to like funnel questions in. So if you have questions, jump over to Twitch chat. Happy to answer those. I know those are going to be spooling up here in a second, but we do want to kick off at least one question while we're waiting to grab additional questions from people, specifically around what was the inspiration behind Chaos Armor. We've gotten a lot of feedback since the PTR, since people got to experience it. A lot of comments about like Chaos Armor is a lot of fun. Is this something that we can continue to play going forward?
Sure.
What was the inspiration for Chaos Armor for Season 10?
Yeah, so I think a lot of us in the office are fans of card games. And what you do in card gaming is you typically build a deck from a bunch of different cards. And I've been a card game fan for a long time, and I've been an ARPG fan and a Diablo fan for a long time. And when I'm building my character in an ARPG or a Diablo, I kind of think about it in the same lens. Like every item is like a different modular piece in something that you're constructing, right? And when you can turn those modular pieces into more randomly emergent things that you didn't expect, where like a unique item existed in a very specific state, but then it can randomly exist in a different state, it kind of creates so many different permutations and combinatorics and possibilities. And we also got to like use all of these amazing unique items that we already had to do that. And so, when we put those pieces together and we thought about it from the sense of like, we can take these things we already have and we can randomize them, kind of jumble them up, and it just creates this like whole new world of possibilities with all these cool new things. That really, we saw that and we were like, this is going to be cool. Like, we want to try this out and see where it goes. And so, yeah, I would say it came from that love of like the combinatorics of card gaming.
Nice.
Yeah, I think one thing that we really heard internally a lot, or like from the feedback from you, the players, was about kind of some seasonal powers feeling a bit like additive, where you just kind of slapped it on top of your build, and wasn't really changing how you build your deck, right?
Yeah,
in
exactly.
that, to use that analogy. And so, we heard that a lot around some of the previous seasons, and so this is kind of our response to it, to say, well, let's make a seasonal power structure that really just recontextualizes everything and just really shuffles the deck up, right? And changes how you play. And so that's where Chaos Perks, the design, kind of came in, as well as Chaos Armor, to really be about shifting up the way you build up your character.
Yeah, and I know we're getting questions here in chat. A lot of them asking like, hey, what happens to Chaos Armor after the season? Is this something that actually ends up like carrying over into next season? Like, I'll always have Chaos Armor. It is a seasonal element specifically. So as you have your Chaos Armor, it essentially will deprecate after the season is over. But I will note, like, when we get feedback from players specifically on seasonal mechanics that are like really, really great, that they really enjoy, the team takes it to heart. When we look at ways of potentially, maybe it could be something that reappears or comes back in a different flavor or something like that. for later on down the line in Diablo 4. We've seen that with other things within our past seasons. That like the Ravens is a great example from our Witchcraft season, where people were like, "Hey, that element of being able to turn in whispers like that is just awesome. I would love that to be able to stay because it just makes the quality of the life game better, way better." So it's something that we will take feedback on, and like if you guys really enjoy a Chaos Armors or like Chaos perks, things like that, let us know. It's always good to know, especially from our side. So good to hear from the team on how they and why they kind of developed the armor. Other questions that we have is Chaos Armor, can you target farm certain Chaos Armors in specific armor slots? It's from Belford95. Is there a way to target farm them specifically?
There is. It's a fairly light touch right now, so you can go to the Gambler, and if you search specifically for a chest armor or whatever, and you just roll through it, eventually you will find a Chaos Armor, and it will be in the chest slot. So you can target farm it that way. Though in general, we did try to keep it much more randomized. Like when you go and you fight different enemies throughout the game, it's going to be fairly random, and a big part of that is because we were really hoping to create a world where players would like go through and it would feel very emergent. Like you would find an item that you didn't expect in a slot you didn't expect, and now you can kind of create your own build. But yes, you can go to the Gambler and search specifically for it.
Question from Neem5i5 or 515, whatever you want to do. What about the mentioned 10-second invulnerability phase for the Bartok fight? Can you elaborate on that? So I think that, and this was what you were talking about, Ben, which is it was kind of addressed here specifically.
Yep, he just gets a shield now.
Yeah, so he'll have the same type of changes that the other layer bosses actually have from PTR. So you won't be able to. You won't be able to. I don't think people really wanted to experience like a long immunity phase. So, but you will be able to blast through the shield if you are a blaster and take down bosses a lot quicker. Question from Gosh, I'm so bad with this. P01 Sans Clan. That's a great name. Great name. love to learn the lore about that one. Did anyone find the rarest rainbow goblin who dropped mythics during the event, or was he really a ghost?
It definitely existed.
Yeah.
I don't have the exact number in front of me, but it was not zero. That's for sure.
Not zero.
There was a handful of people who found the rarest of the treasure goblins. Yeah.
It was really funny though. I remember seeing like a Reddit post, and it wasn't confirmed that someone actually found the rarest goblin. Like it was probably that they found the rarest goblin, but it wasn't hard evidence. So you looked at it and you were like, I don't know if you actually found it. I'm not sure I believe you.
Question from the Warrior Poet 80, and curious to know on this one too. Rune drop rates were pretty low last season. Is there any news on potentially changing that or updating the drop rate specifically?
Yeah, so that's something that we want to continue to take a look at. We have data that we're collating and looking through. If we find, if we continue to get a lot of feedback that that's the case in this season, we will, continue to monitor and potentially make adjustments.
Cool. Daggity. Is it possible to have the same unique effect on multiple Chaos Armors equipped at once?
No, like the same Chaos item, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you cannot. We actually were thinking about that in the very early stages of development, and we were pretty quickly like, well, that would be absolutely broken, so we probably can't do that.
Yeah, so it's not even that they don't take effect. Like currently, you can equip 2 legendary aspects, and just one of them, the weaker one, gets disabled. For Chaos Armor specifically, if you have Chaos Armor and even the regular unique that it's based off of, they're mutually exclusive. You cannot even equip them. Because they do carry over all of the affixes on the gear, unlike say legendary aspects, right? You just will only be able to have that one copy of that unique equipped to prevent some situations where things get even more out of control and chaotic than they currently are.
Yes.
Kiku Flower asks, what about putting a blacksmith or stash at layer bosses to salvage uniques or putting them into the stash? have we, it's something that I know that players have brought up, but is it something that we're looking at or potentially trying to, I think players are trying to find optimization around traveling back and forth.
Yeah, so that's actually a conversation we were having about the training grounds of just to kind of talk to something similar. We were talking about should we add even more stuff to the training grounds to make that more convenient? But the thing about the training grounds is that it's intentionally supposed to be as convenient as possible, right? But we still want to have some degree of respect for the fantasy in the actual world space, which includes lair bosses. So it's kind of a push-pull there. If, again, I think this is one of those things where if that's the way you feel, please let us know. And the more we hear about that, the more it will be on our radars. But for now, we want you to go into the lair boss arena and challenge the boss and have that be their space.
Riker. Hi, Riker.
Oh, hello.
Hey, look. Riker asks, patch notes make mention of a 10-second window for immunity phase. No mention of shields. Can we clarify this? That might be something wrong with the patch notes or a blog or something. So we'll double check on that. But yeah, there is shield phases now for the lair bosses. Right. So just to clarify, if you're reading something, that might be an our bad, which we'll update on the actual blogs and everything from that end. Ernest Still IO. Will the drop rate for Chaos Armor depend on whether you are already wearing this item, but not as Chaos Armor? So, for instance, if you happen to be wearing one of the regular pieces.
Oh yeah. No, it won't have. That won't have any influence on it. It's pure chaos, my friends. You go in, you find whatever the Chaos Gods decide you should be blessed with.
Cool. And then. Are there any plans for potentially buffing up Mythics or doing some additional work to Mythics?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think Mythics are definitely something that's been on our radar. We haven't made any substantial updates, balance changes to them in a while. Not for this season, not for season launch. We think that a lot of the excitement here and the build crafting opportunities is going to be about Chaos Armor. And in some cases, the really good Chaos Armor pieces are arguably better than some Mythics, depending on the slot, depending on your build. But that being said, for future seasons, it's definitely on our radar that some Mythic uniques are definitely not up to par of some of the other ones. And so we're looking for ways to modify them or update their effect. But that's going to be a future discussion that we'll have, and not for the Season 10 launch here.
Got it. Also, I got clarification on the Riker thing. Apparently, there is details in the patch notes. The blog is just very brief. Thank you, Marcus, who is literally live typing to me as he relays information. So that's the reason why there's probably a little bit of confusion. I know this is probably the big final question that we'll take here for today, which is related to future changes in regards to some of the things that we talked about before, specifically around masterworking and tempering. And one thing that it's something that everyone's been talking about, we've been hearing for many seasons, something that we've addressed that we plan on actually making some changes for. Season 10 is a awesome season. It's going to be a long season through until we get to our next one. But I will say, of course, we always have PTRs, and we talked about how PTRs are incredibly important. The Season 11 PTR is going to be very important for people to jump into and actually test out specific things, because we are planning on making some big changes in regards to masterworking and tempering in that season. So we do want people to actually check that out. We'll have more information as we get closer to the PTR specifically, but I know it's something that Aislinn, you have been really, really focused in on. It was a topic that you had been talking about for many, many months. So, but yeah, Season 11 PTR is going to be really important for everyone to get that feedback. So make sure to jump in during that moment as you're playing through Season 10. We'll have that 11 PTR that will go up, so it'll be cool to see.
Yeah. Just the general stretch of Season 10 and all the things happening with it, including the Season 11 PTR. Yeah. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, a cool opportunity for people to check out some of the bigger system changes that we're planning on doing for Diablo 4.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is our wrap up for our stream right here. We had a new format here. We are absolutely open to feedback. We wanted to lay out all the information about the season in the beginning of the show really cleanly, so that people can hear all the details and everything. Do you want to do a quick reminder that the season actually starts next Tuesday, which is September 23rd. So make sure to jump in for Season 10, it's going to be a ton of fun. Infernal Chaos, lots of Chaos Armor that you can grab. More Chaos Armor now, as we just talked about here, that you can actually end up grabbing. Likewise, there's some really cool reliquary rewards for this season. The team is really amped up on like the quality and like the coolness of the actual items. You can get a Labrador, guys. Come on. It's so cool. It's like the coolest thing in the world. But I think the other thing that's also really cool, and this is a first for D4 specifically, is we have some new wings that will be coming in. And these are actually reactive wings as well.
Oh my god.
Which is really sick. These wings specifically, the reactive like portion of it will actually trigger if you get a like I think it's a kill streak of like 20 or 25, somewhere around there. So it's actually really sick. So
cool.
make sure to check out the reliquary rewards. These are actually really awesome. And then separately, there is also a new pet that is part of the season journey. And that will be part of Chapter 6. We made those changes a couple seasons ago, so it's like much more friendly for people to actually be able to obtain that big chase item, which is Pandora. This cute little fox, this cute little menacing fox, this cute little fox with like magma coming up its legs and stuff like that. But yeah, Pandora will be part of the season journey, so you can actually check it out, which is really cool. And what else do I have to say? Oh, we have a cool infographic here. We have a cool like full-on display of everything that is coming with the season of Infernal Chaos. So you guys can actually get a quick grab of seeing like all the big changes that are coming. So it'll be really cool to see. September 23rd, people will be able to jump in. And of course, immediately after this stream, you can jump in and check out our patch notes on Diablo4.com.
And so start theory crafting. Start theory crafting, build
We got a whole week.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of content creators ping me going like, wow, we have a whole week. Like I don't have to crunch over the weekend for things. And I was like, yeah, you get 2 extra days. So it will be great to see. And then one other big thing that I will remind people on is Twitch drops are going on right now, and they will go on for at least a couple more hours. So if you are watching anyone who's on the Diablo 4 category, you can most definitely still earn the bow. And we will have Twitch drops at the start of the season as well. Ooh. You can earn a pole arm. The pole arm is actually it's showcased on the blog. It looks absolutely sick. And you just have to watch Diablo 4 streams. Anyone who's streaming through the start of season 10. So it'll be really cool to see. I think I've said "cool to see" a million times in the last like 2 minutes. So
yeah, it's been really
maybe
cool to see.
It's been really cool to see you guys. Cool to see. I'm rusty. I haven't been doing this for a little bit. So a huge thanks to Ben, Aislinn, and Charles for jumping on and talking a little bit about Season 10. Can't wait to see everyone jump in on September 23rd. And from everyone here on Team 3, Team Diablo, here at Blizzard, thank you, and we'll see you guys in the season of Infernal Chaos.
Chaos. Thank you.